So what we are first of all going to do is we want our GUI. So I am going to supply you with this GUI. Of course, it won't be containing any of the scripts. It will only be containing the visual aspects, because else there would be literally no point for you to be actually watching this, and I wouldn't get any views and you wouldn't understand how this works. So if we just paste this over here, then currently we only see the button to open the shop. Now if I expand the GUI and also make the mainframe visible, then in here we have this item over here. This is actually an image label, so you can make that this actually shows something, and the buy button currently says $50 $. You can change this to be 100, etc. Okay, first of all what we want to do is we want to, in the open image button, insert a local script, and in here all we're going to say is script.parent.mouse button click color connect function open bracket close bracket drop a line script.parent.item.mainframe.visible equals to not, and then we'll just drop the script to visible and paste that up after, and we're finished with the toggler. This will make that this toggles the visibility of the shop to on and off, etc. What we're next up going to do is we are in replicated storage going to insert a remote event, and we're going to call it buy shop item. Then we're also going to insert a folder which we are going to call shop items. Except what we're going to do is we are in our buy button from our object going to insert a local script, in which we're simply going to say script.parent.mouse button click connect function open bracket close bracket drop a line game.replicate source.buy shop item fire server script.parent.parent.name, and with that we have that local script finished. We can actually, currently this just adds a double speed game pass, it's called 2x speed, but let's say we also want a gravity coil. We can just duplicate the frame and change the buy button to let's say $100 $, or whatever you think is fair, and of course we're going to rename the frame, and I'm also going to add the speed coil. Now I did not make any images for this, but you of course can make images. What we are next up going to do is we are in shop items in replicated storage going to insert a folder. The first one I'm going to call 2x speed. That's the exact same I spelled the double speed game pass frame. And what this is going to contain is first of all an int value. I'm going to call this ID. Second of all a string value. I'm going to call this img. Thirdly, a bool value, which I'm going to call item, and finally another string value, which I'm going to call item name. Okay, so let's go through these. The ID is the Game Pass ID for which item is going to prompt the player to purchase. The img is, actually we can leave the img, we don't actually need that. Then we have item, the bool value. This is a bool value which is currently false because it's the 2x speed, because thinking about it, 2x speed is actually not any type of game pass that gives the player an item, so it just modifies the stats, so it's not an item, so that's why it's false. And then finally we have item name, which technically we don't need for the 2x speed, but it's just easier to always have. Now we can duplicate this and rename it to, let's say, speed coil. And now in here we are going to select item and make the value be true. I'm just going to make a mainframe here for the shop be invisible, and then I'm going to go into the toolbox and search up speed coil. Let's say this one. I'm just going to parent that into the speed coil folder and replicated storage, and I'm going to rename it to tool. Then I'm going to select the item name value and make the value of that be speed coil with a space inside. And then I'm going to repeat this exact process one more time, and I'm just going to rename this gravity coil. I'm going to expand it and make the item name say gravity space coil, and I'm just going to remove the tool and in the toolbar search up gravity coil. Just going to take that and get that into the gravity coil folder in replicated storage. Okay, with that we've done almost everything for the shop. Next up, let's actually make the server side handling for all of this. So what we're going to do is we are in service going to insert a script which we are going to call shop handler. In this script, first of all, we're going to say game.replicated storage.buy shop item.onServer event connect function in the brackets open bracket plr comma item name close bracket drop a line. Then we're going to get a variable local item folder equals to game.replicated storage shop items open square bracket item name closing square bracket drop two lines local id equals to item folder dot id dot value, and finally drop two more lines local owns equals to, and then we're going to at the top of the script drop two lines, and then on the first line say local mps equals to game colon get service in the brackets in quotation marks marketplace service, and then for the after the equals to sign of owns we're going to say mps colon user owns Gamepass async, and then in the brackets plr.user id comma id. We're going to drop two more lines. If not owns, then drop a line mps colon from Gamepass purchase and in brackets plr comma id. Okay, next up what we are going to do is we are going to at the top of the script here drop two lines, and then in the middle of that say function on purchase finish open bracket plr comma id comma was purchase closing bracket drop a line, and it's going to insert an end. And next up we're just quickly going to after the end drop two lines and say mps from game has purchase finished, that's the long one, connect open bracket on purchase finished closing bracket. This will just make that if a Gamepass purchase is finished, so if it's true or false, so if the player either bought it or pressed cancelled, then it triggers this function. Okay, so but what do we want to happen if this function is triggered? So if somebody finishes the purchase, buying it or not buying it, then we want to figure out if was purchased, because if it actually was purchased, then we give him the tool. Else, yeah, we don't have to do anything. So if was purchased, we need to find the associated tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to say for I comma v in pairs game.replicated storage shop items colon get children after the brackets do drop a line and the is going to insert name, because now for each item in shop items, so for 2x speed, speed toil and gravity toil, it's going to repeat the code here in the function. So we're going to check if v.id.value equals to id then. So that means that we found the item that the player purchased. We know he purchased it because we before checked if he actually purchased it. So now we know which item the player purchased. So what we're going to check is if v.item.value equals to true, then. So this is an item, so the gravity toil or the speed toil in my case. So we're going to say local tool equals to v.tool clone. It is important that we call it tool exactly like this, and because we know that it is an item so that the value is true, we know it can find tool is spelled exactly like that. So we're going to drop two lines and going to say tool.name equals to v.item name.value drop a line, tool.parent equals to plr.starter here. Drop 2 lines, local tool2 equals to tool clone. Drop a line, tool2.parent equals to plr.back. And there we go. This just, if he buys it, then checks, hey, it does all of the two things in the shop. If it finds the one that the player seems to have bought, then it checks, hey, is that the type of, is it one that would contain a tool? If that is the case, then it takes the tool, clones it, puts it into the starter gear, clones it again, and puts it into the backpack. It puts it into the starter gear so that the player obtains it every single time they respawn. But what if it wasn't an item? What if it was the 2x speed that modifies an attribute? What we're going to do is we're going to drop a line and we're going to check else. So if it's item that value is false, so that means it's the 2x speed. We're going to check if v.name equals to, in quotation marks, 2x speed, spelled exactly the same, then plr.character.humanoid.walk speed equals to 30. That's just how fast I want the player to be if they have the double speed Gamepass. Unfortunately, we have no way at all to automatically apply these. We have to, for the non-tool ones, always define what the effect is. So if it is exactly 2x speed, then it is exactly this. I'm actually probably going to later on show you how you can make it so that it increases the jump boost with a different one. Okay. But now, this only happens when the player buys it, and we actually want so that the player also gets these benefits if they rejoin at the end of the script. I'm going to drop 2 lines and I'm going to say game.player added connect function open bracket plr closing bracket drop a line, and there's going to insert end closing bracket for us. So if the player joins, we're going to loop through the shop items. Basically what we're going to do is this is very simple. All we have to do is we can actually copy over this entire for loop from the on purchase function and paste it into here, with the one exception that we actually have to remove the else part, and we can remove the if id.value equals to id, and of course with that we can also remove an end. Then I'm just going to indent this back for us, reformat this so that it doesn't look like absolute garbage. Okay, there we go. But now for the case of the speed Gamepass, what we're going to do is we're at the end of the for loop going to drop 2 lines and we're going to say plr.character added connect function open bracket char close bracket drop a line, and it inserts another end closing bracket. Between those we're going to say if mps user owns Gamepass async, quite a long one, plr.user id comma space game.replicated storage dot shop items square brackets quotation marks 2x speed after the square bracket dot id dot value after the bracket. Then so this just checks, does the player own 2x speed, and if that's the case, char.humanoid.walk speed equals to 30. At the time of recording, there is unfortunately no way to set the default walk speed of a player, which is unfortunate, but that unfortunately is the case. But currently, this entire script won't actually work because there are no Gamepasses associated to any of these items. But we can change this. We can actually create Gamepasses. For this, you want to go onto the website roblox.com, and then at the top you can select the create tab, and this is going to bring you to somewhere like this. Now what you want to do is you want to select the place that you want to add your Gamepasses for, so your obby, and you're going to click on manage experience there. Then you're going to, at the left, scroll down to monetization, and then select passes and click on that, and then you're going to be on this page. There's analytics and creations. On the creations tab, you can click here, create a pass if you hadn't created any yet. So you can just click that. You can add an image. I'm going to say speed coil. It does not matter how it is spelled here. And then we can click create pass. Now the page looks like this. We can click on directly on the pass, and then here on the left it has basic settings and sales. We're going to click on sales. We're going to say item for sale, and as it already said, it was 100. We're going to set that to 100. We can save the changes. Now if we go back, we can create a pass again. We're going to say gravity coil. We are going to click create pass, and of course we can select that. Sales, item for sale, 100 changes. Finally create another pass. We're going to call this 2x speed and create pass. Select that. Sales, item for sale, and this was 50. Okay, now we can save the changes. And then what we want to do is we actually want to click on these 3 dots, and it's going to say copy asset ID. Now we can do that for, let's say, the 2x speed. Then we are going to go back to Roblox Studio, and we're going to select the 2x speed ID and paste that as the value. Then we're going to go back to the create.roblox.com. We're going to do the same for gravity coil. 3 dots, copy asset ID. Go back to Roblox Studio. Select the gravity coil ID. Paste it into the value. And finally do the speed coil. Okay, with that we've now actually added game passes to this, which can be bought and which will give the benefits. Now we can actually play. Oh, I have the speed coil, but not the gravity coil. Let's see if the output says anything. Yes. Tool is not found. Let's see why that may be. Oh, I forgot to rename it. Yep, that's an important step that even I forgot. The gravity coil tool in replicated storage gravity coil, it actually is supposed to be called tool, not gravity coil. So if we just do that and play again, there we go. I got the speed coil, works, and we got the gravity coil, which allows us to jump high. Something I'm noticing about the speed coil is that actually it resets our speed. So like if I die, I'm pretty fast, then I equip the speed coil, I become faster, I unequip it and I become a really lame speed again. It is actually very easy to fix that. This is because of which tool I selected. I'm just going to expand the speed coil tool, handle local script, and here, yeah, I'm just going to replace the equal with a plus equal to for the equipped, and then the minus equal to for unequipped, and here I'm going to change that to, let's say, 30 for both. So that means that it increases or decreases the speed by 30. So currently I'm at a decent speed. Then I equip the speed coil, I become even faster, and equip it, and I stay at my decent speed, which is perfect. One thing I've kind of noticed during my testing is that it's actually kind of hard to get through these stages with the speed coil. And actually, the gravity coil might be of help with that. Or maybe the speed coil actually makes it easier to... Yeah, it's kind of hard. Anyway, okay, just to show you how you can make even more stuff like the double speed, I'm just going to, in ShopGI, duplicate double speed and just rename that to 2x jump. Then I am going to duplicate it to x speed and shop items, and of course going to name that also 2x jump. And then what I'm going to do, yeah, this does not have an item name and it's not an item. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to open the shop handler. I'm going to over here on one of the last lines, I'm going to add an else if, and then I'm just going to copy the entire content of the if statement that was originally there. Then I'm going to replace 2x speed with 2x jump. Then I'm going to copy the line from the previous if statement, the char.humanoid.walk speed equals to 30, and I'm just going to replace walk speed with jump power. And actually, what is the default then? So I guess I'm going to replace jump power with 100 then. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to head back to the website. I'm going to click create pass, 2x jump, create pass, selected sales, item for sale, I guess 50, save changes, back, add 3 dots, copy asset ID, return to Roblox Studio, and then select 2x jump ID, paste it in there, and let's see if I now have double jump power. If I play, oh, the reason is because I'm using else if, which is not that good. I'm just going to replace that with an and a if, because it's checking if either or, but it can be the case that both is. So let's just check that, and yes, now we have double jump power as well. Let's see, this should, yeah, you can just jump over a lot of the stages like this. Yeah, that's definitely not overpowered at all. Yeah, but that's just how it is. Next up, oh yeah, you might have been seeing that terrible health bar from Roblox. It just does not look that good. A while ago, it looked even worse. So let's make our own. I have created a GUI for this. I'm going to link it in the description separately. It won't contain any scripts so that you can learn something from copying off the tutorial, and I will explain how stuff works. So I'm just going to quickly insert that scriptless GUI here into starter GUI, and oh yeah, there it inserts the health bar. It's just a GUI with a text label containing a bunch of stuff so that the sizes and stuff is okay. Then it contains the thing that displays how much health you actually have, and then it contains this green bar which can be will be resized, and yep, it stays like that. Okay, so this actually only contains one singular script, which is even quite simple. It is directly in the GUI, in the Stream GUI, so I'm just going to click it, Control I local script, that will also automatically open it. So in here I'm going to say local rs equals to game::get service in quotation mark run service. Drop 2 lines, rs.render step, close that function, open bracket, close bracket, drop a line, it inserts and closing brackets for us, local plr equals to game players of local player, local char equals to plr.character, drop 2 lines, if char, then, so if the character didn't die in that exact frame, local hum equals to char.humanoid, local health equals to dot health, drop 2 lines, script dot parent dot bg frame dot amount display dot text equals to math dot round, in the brackets health, after the brackets dot quotation marks, and then the quotation marks /100. This will just round the health, because for some reason the health goes to the weirdest decimal places ever. So it just rounds it to the nearest integer, and then slash says out of 100. Drop a line, script.parent.bgframe.bar.size equals to qdom2.from scale health /100, 1. It just divides health by 100. That it takes that as the decimal of, because scale for UI elements from scale is 1 is in decimals, So taking the health to 100 will give us the decimal of how much of the health is remaining. Because if he is at max health, then it is 100 divided by 100, which will result in 1, which makes the full health bar be there. Whereas if he's at 50 health, 50 divided by 100 is 0.5, which makes half the health bar, which is perfect, and just makes so that the y-axis is always at a constant 1. And with that, we are finished. It just does this for each tick. Okay, now let's actually see if all of this works. Let's play. And there we go, currently it says 100 out of 100, and the whole health bar is green. If I walk over here, it says 90 out of 100, it goes up, and it keeps there a red part. If I go over this part, it is a little bit more damage. I can go over it repeatedly. There, I'm under half health, and I can lose even more health. But currently, we see that there is this bar over here, the Roblox health bar, which, no, it just does not look good. We can actually disable it, because Roblox is nice enough to allow us to do so. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to, in the alignment keys script, I'm going to drop a line after the game started UI, set core UI enabled the emotes UI. I'm just going to say game.starter UI colon set core UI enabled enum.core UI type dot help comma false. And there we go. Now also the Roblox health bar is disabled. We can just quickly play to see that. And now if I was to take damage, there we go, Roblox health bar, completely invisible, perfect. Okay, in this tutorial I showed you how you can make your own shop for game passes and the custom health bar, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!